Today, I want to talk about HBAR again. I have not put out content on this in a while now, and that is not for a real point. I am heavily in to HBAR. It's probably the third largest holding I have. And I want to talk about some news that came out about HBAR working with the UN, which is not exactly something that I get excited about just because of the political things involved with the UN and what it's interested in. But you can't ignore it because it is a very large opportunity for HBAR, and particularly with the whole economy and market that the climate change narrative has created. So, just to remind everybody, some interesting things about HBAR is that the transaction fees are not in terms of the actual token itself. Um, it will it will always be point uh, zero 0.001 cents per typical transaction. That was a part of its design, and it is a directed acyclic graph. It is not a true b- b- blockchain, which, in my opinion, is superior to, to a chain. But there are a lot of very large organizations and institutions that are involved with HBAR and that are behind HBAR. You have people like Avery Dennison, Chainlink, Dell, IBM, Google, Ubisoft, LG. It's got a lot of very major people involved, and this content will actually include EDF. They are a uh, primarily a renewable energy company, from how I am familiar with them. I worked in the uh, renewable energy space for about a year and a half after I spent about 7 or 8 years in oil and gas, and it is a pretty large company name. So, as far as the UN news goes, HBAR announced an indirect partnership with the UN. Envision blockchain has collaborated with the HBAR Foundation to make a new platform for carbon markets. Well, what does that mean? There are things out there called carbon credits, and they go by some different names in other countries. But I will explain more on what those actually are as we talk more about this here. But the DMRV system was developed in collaboration with the UN Climate Change Global Innovation Hub and built on the HBAR chain, which it isn't a chain, but uh, these kinds of announcements get put out by people who don't understand crypto. And that was a quote from someone. Here, the Digital Measurement Reporting and Verification, or DMRV, was developed in collaboration with the GIH and is built on HBAR, utilizing the newly launched open source managed Guardian service platform. And if you go here, that will bring you to a link on Telegraph from December 4th of 2023 that is explaining the new digitization platform for carbon markets. And it's actually really timely that I found this, because I was thinking that the tokenization of of carbon credits here in the US could be a very large opportunity. And I was actually thinking that either HBAR or Casper would be a good fit to create some kind of a platform on. And I was actually even kind of considering reaching out to one of the guys I know in the traditional and renewable energy industries to ask him what he thought about it. And then I come across all of this information that one of the two projects that I actually thought would be a good fit was pioneering this, and we're already connected to the UN. So I don't have a chance to end up as a billionaire off of that idea now. But the 2023 UN Climate Change Conference, or COP28, saw several new initiatives aimed at innovating the fight against climate change and streamlining the complex carbon credit markets. I won't make any politically and technical engineering based commentary on the whole climate change thing, but it isn't going anywhere anytime soon. And if people are wanting to put a lot of cash and investments in this, then there is a lot of opportunity to be had, even if I don't truly agree with why it is happening, and even more so how it is actually happening. But it is interesting because the platform offers a suite of features like AI and guided searches for the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, Clean Development Mechanism Methodology Library, the CDM methodology library consists of hundreds of rule sets required to create a carbon credit, independently developed in an analog process, supporting the carbon market. Envision digitized 15 of the most used rules and extended the current library of methodologies available for use in HBAR's Guardian ecosystem. Now, more overall institutional national government kind of things that are related to not only HBAR but a lot of other things that I talk about, like Quant, XRP, XLM, XDC, even Casper and Render as well, which I will have to look into that because it's called out for global cloud services here. But it seems to be a hot topic in the crypto community because a lot of people see these kinds of projects and assets as centralized crap that's not fighting the good fight that crypto was initially allegedly created for, which was to decentralize control. On the other side, the global leaders have already taken account of that and began to create with the new technology. In other words, it's probably too late for crypto to overthrow the world order. You have people heavily involved in all of these projects that come from the World Economic Forum, the International Standards Organization, the UN, OECD, Swift, UN, IETF, that might be trade something, and the IMF, or the International Monetary Fund. And you have a lot of very large companies involved in that as well. So that whole approach, especially with things that I don't necessarily completely agree in, like the whole climate change thing, or at least the version of the climate change economy that is currently in place, I'm mature enough to see that there's no real way around this, and there's a lot of opportunity to be had if you know where to look and how to actually capitalize on that. So here is a announcement from Tokenizer again, about HBAR and Algo as well, and how each of them had some announcements made with the UN over the last 2 weeks or so now. There and I, I won't get into the Algorand part, but I believe that the price of algo has increased significantly over the last couple of months, and the same with HBAR as well. So for HBAR, where was it? Yeah, so partner for Guardian, and how large exactly is the UN? But so not only is it these kinds of sub departments of the UN, which I don't know any of those off of the top of my head, but there are a number of a lot of other things that get tied up into them as well. There is the Food and Agriculture Organization, the Universal Postal Union, World Intellectual Property Organization, which I believe is tied into Casper somehow, and the IMF, or the International Monetary Fund, which if you put on a little tinfoil, then you can find that the U.S. Secretary of Treasury is actually, at least in part, an employee of the IMF. So here is a separate announcement, but it is involved still. So did you know that HBAR and Microsoft partnered up at the in Workall to build Guardian, which unlocks a $250 billion industry? And that article was here. It has a lot of information in here. It was originally called Project Guardian, with Microsoft, Accenture, and HBAR as well, but now it is just Hedera Guardian. It is open source DMRV for carbon credit related things. So it is supposed to enhance transparency and robustness of carbon offset programs, enable SCs are almost equally as hard, and I'm not in a good mood, so yeah, it's on the screen right there. Enabling carbon offset trading and promoting environmental impact investments. Now, it is a front runner in the sustainability and environmental technology space due to its unique combination of features and benefits. You have decentralization and security that essentially just comes from it being created on the Hedera public distributed ledger network. You have, can't say SCs right now, and efficiency, again, that just comes from how the Hedera network and protocol work. Data integrity and transparency, that essentially again comes down to Hedera because you are digitizing and tokenizing things in an open source way that makes it inherently much more transparent. But because it is transparent and it is kept quote unquote on chain, you can see where all of the actual information has been. Open source, okay. Now, this part is probably one of the most important things, and that comes from a network and an experience thing, and you have to have the right people involved in these. So, regulatory compliance and ESG integration. It is designed to comply with existing and emerging regulations related to environmental reporting and carbon offset programs, and it seamlessly integrates with reporting frameworks as well. In the oil and gas industry, the EPA and other organizations just kind of create rules as they go, and it is very important to be able to have a platform that can quickly and easily adapt to that. Cost effectiveness, a lot of that comes down to the transaction costs of HBAR. Cross-border compatibility, again, that's kind of just because it is on the Hedera protocol. So not anything earth-shattering there, but it is a very good reminder of why HBAR was actually chosen. And it's an example of they have the right connections as well. Here is another part about EDF. So another HBAR governing council member is beginning to do more on the Hashgraph. RECs are renewable energy certificates for validating clean energy generation and consumption. In my time in the renewable hydrogen industry, which whether I think it is truly efficient or not isn't really a part of this. We worked with companies who either created their own renewable energy or could prove by way of things like RECs that the electricity that they were using for our hydrogen creation process did actually come from renewable energy sources. So what is an REC? Well, they are known as a number of things, but they are tradable, non-tangible energy certificates in the US that represent proof of 1 megawatt hour of electricity was generated from an eligible renewable energy resource and was fed into the shared system of power lines which transport energy. So these are essentially to make the transmission and the accounting of electricity produced from a renewable resource, because you can't just directly connect a wind turbine to some new kind of equipment that will run on it. It is a way of electricity accounting. So here is the article from Hedera that was from November 29th. It is a joint project on HBAR, and it is looking to streamline efficiency, transparency, and verification in the global 19 billion renewable energy certificate market. Now, this article right here called out 250 billion, which if I search for that, is the estimated value by 2030, which is only 6 years away now, and I don't think our expansion from 19 up to 250 is actually a inaccurate projection there from my personal experience. Um, so this project enables end consumers to retire small quantities of RECs in real time, which empowers individuals to send a clear market signal that they care about how the power that they consume is being produced. This sounds like it might be more on the retail end, but I would imagine that is aimed more at the commercial and probably the industrial end as well, which I'm imagining that this can be used in a way that could be integrated into Project Guardian, which relates to the credits. This was a proof of concept, but we see that HBAR is already working on things with the UN. So I don't think that that will be too far away in the future. Now, as far as the US goes, as of 2022, the real voluntary carbon market is valued at around 2 billion, and each carbon credit is worth in between 40 and $80. I hadn't actually seen that in the past, just because I haven't ever had to work directly with that. But it is really interesting because a carbon credit essentially allows companies to either sell off their carbon credits if they didn't produce as much carbon as they anticipated, and it allows companies who created more carbon than they might have anticipated to purchase credits in order to not get hit with fines. And on another note, which I will probably expand more on, I believe I've talked about this a little bit in the past, but Archax is one of the first crypto firms to be regulated by the FCA. Will introduce trading pairs of I can't pronounce this money market fund tokens issued on HBAR and bit, bit Bitcoin. So it goes to show that HBAR is involved in a lot of very, very large things, in part because of who they have been able to partner up with and work with. And I believe that we are due for a announcement of a new governing council member soon.